Hi, and in this lesson, we're going to carry on looking at Paper 1, Question 5. This is Lesson 2A, and we're going to be looking at how to use paragraphs effectively for descriptive writing. So we're going to start off in the next couple slides with some interesting pictures. And for each picture, I'd like you to pause the video and write down as many different things that you can see in each video that would be interesting to focus a paragraph on Paper 1, Question 5. Here's the first one. Pause the video and write down as many interesting things as you could write about. All right, here's the second video. Again, pause it and write down as many things as you could think to focus a paragraph on. And there's a third one. Again, pause the video and write down as many things as you could think of to focus a paragraph on. So, how'd you do? I would say if you came up with at least 5 things in each picture, you're doing all right. If you found 10 things or more for each picture, you're doing fantastically. On the GCSE, once you've found some things that you could focus on, interesting things that you could describe, you'll want to go ahead and describe them in paragraphs. Using paragraphs in your writing is an essential skill that you're going to need for GCSE grading level 2. If you want to be getting on pace for a grade 3 or a grade 4 or higher, then it's absolutely essential that you're going to use paragraphs. Because using paragraphs is part of the mark scheme. And using paragraphs that are well structured is something that you're going to have to do to be even in a low level 2, like on pace for a grade 3. If you're using paragraphs randomly, that's like writing at a high level 1. If you're not using paragraphs at all, well, that's a feature of low level 1 writing, and you definitely want to get yourself above that level. So how confident are you feeling about now? Again, give yourself a little gut check, see how you feel, and then let's move on. Now, it's all well and good to say that you need to use paragraphs, but how should we be using them on the GCSE? Let's take a look. This is a sample GCSE response. Again, this is written at level 1. And what do you think is wrong with this? Well, this response is kind of what I call a wall of random junk. Look at this. There's a huge airplane roaring overhead. The waves lapped against the shore. I could smell someone cooking fish. All along the beach there were green umbrellas. There were fluffy white clouds in the blue sky. No sentence has anything to do with any other sentence here. Just one big block, every sentence, another random observation. This is level 1 writing on the GCSE. So, some rules for using paragraphs. A paragraph should only have one focus. If you remember back when we were doing Paper 1, Question 3, that structure question, you had to figure out what the writer was focusing on in each paragraph of the source. Well, when you're writing, each paragraph that you write should only have one focus too. That means each paragraph that you write should really only be describing one topic or one person, and that each paragraph should only be focused at one place or one time. And this is a really good guide to help you figure out when you need to be starting a new paragraph. So if you say something like later that day or 5 minutes later, or an hour later, or the next day. When you say something like that, you're changing time. And that means you should be changing paragraphs because you've got a new focus and new time. Same if you talk about place. Like if you were writing that short write about a new country, your first moments in a new country, and you started a sentence like, and then we went to the hotel, or, and then I went to a restaurant to find some food. If you wrote something like that, you were starting a new place. And when you focus on a new place, that means, again, a new paragraph. So all of those things that you were finding to write about at the beginning, if you were looking at the clouds, or you were looking at the big airplane right over the beach, or at the lovely color of the sea, or those palm trees in the background, or all these people taking pictures, or all the people under the umbrella, whatever you were listing, every focus that you find needs to get its own paragraph when you're writing. Okay, so what if we do that then? What if we take each of those sentences from that level 1 response and we give every focus its own paragraph? How's that? Do we think that's better writing? Well, maybe. I mean, it's a little bit better, but now it makes it very obvious that it's a list. It looks like bullet points. So this is showing us that really, we're not there yet. We need to make this a lot better. And the way that we can do that is by expanding on these paragraphs. Every paragraph that you write, as a general rule, unless you're doing a short paragraph for effect, every paragraph that you write should usually have at least 3 sentences in it. And that means 3 full stops. You need to be using full stops in your sentences. So even if you write a really, really long sentence with a comma, 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 if you've only got 1 full stop in that paragraph, it's probably not going to be a very good paragraph. Try and make sure that your sentences all end in full stops and that you've got 3 of those full stop sentences in each of your paragraphs. So a common way of doing this, a common way of making a short little paragraph in descriptive writing is this. You point out something that you notice in the picture. Then you zoom in on some detail about that thing that you noticed. And then you give your thoughts and feelings about that thing that you noticed. And what you might notice about this is really an adaptation of a PEE paragraph. You point something out, then you've got an example or evidence. It's kind of like zooming in a little detail, and then you explain what you think and feel about it. So it's kind of handy that if you get a bit stuck, if you're needing to fall back on some structure to help you out, a PEE paragraph actually isn't a bad idea to get yourself unstuck with. Of course, it's by no means the best way to be writing on descriptive writing, but it is a common way that you can kind of pop out a quick little paragraph just to keep yourself moving. Now, if you're looking for some more interesting ways to extend your paragraphs, ways that you could think of another thing to include in those paragraphs, well, here's some things that you can do. First of all, you could use some more sensory details to describe the thing that you've been talking about in that paragraph. So if you were talking about something that you saw or the way that something looks, you could also talk about how it sounds or how it smells or tastes. You could also, it's kind of like sensory details, though a little bit different. You could also give those thoughts or feelings that you might have about it. You could also, as another way of extending your paragraphs, you could zoom in or zoom out a little bit on that. You could zoom in and give a little detail, small detail about it, or you could zoom out a bit and describe the environment immediately around it. You could extend your paragraph by using a technique like a simile, personification, or onomatopoeia. Or you could describe the action, explain what that thing that you're focusing on is doing at that moment, or talk about how something else is reacting to that thing. All four ways that you could pop up with another sentence to extend your paragraphs just that little bit more. Now, let's try expanding some sentences into paragraphs. So, please choose at least 3 of these sentences. See if you can turn each of these sentences that you choose into a descriptive paragraph with 3 sentences minimum, meaning each of the paragraphs that you write should be all about whatever thing you choose. Like if you choose the sentence, "The waves lapped against the shore," then all 3 or more of the sentences in this paragraph should have something to do with the waves or lapping against the shore. On the sidebar, we've got those 4 ideas for ways that you could maybe extend your paragraphs. Give it a shot now. See how you do. Good luck.